Oh, bother. We're back.
Soon you will know fear. Soon you will know pain. For Winnie the Pooh is in the public domain.
Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Fuck racist Frank Waterfield. I'm sorry. We're gonna get into it, but God, I hate this film. There is not a single redeeming thing about this film. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
No. So, how did this film came to be?
Alright, let's talk about it.
Okay.
Alright.
So you want to start off? Should I?
You start.
The film was written and directed by Rice Frank Waterfield. Don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he pisses me off too much to care. He recently worked at EDF Energy before leaving to create low-budget horror movies in 2021. And this film is based on the Winnie the Pooh books by A.A. Milne and E.H. Shepard. For years, Disney held a monopoly on the adaptation rights to the characters, but on January 1st of 2022, the rights to the first book and all characters portrayed in it went into the public domain. And while Disney still held the right to their own interpretation of the characters, anyone was allowed to adapt the original source material. And of all the things, it was a fucking slasher movie.
Yeah, so this movie was filmed in Ashdown Forest in the east of Sussex, which served as inspiration for the Hundred Acre Woods. And I will give credit where credit is due. The team were very careful to make sure that the characters didn't resemble the Disney versions of character. The masks for Pooh and Piglet were made by Immortal Masks, a Hollywood-based company that specializes in making monster masks and costumes.
And the film was set to debut in October 2022, but the increased publicity from the film got from its announcement encouraged the team to do more reshoots. They ended the film by months before it finally released in January of 2023. And you know it's a stinker when it releases in January. It's the dumping ground of cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, despite this, the film went on to gross over $7 million against a $100,000 budget. And yet, it was universally panned and has a 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, with many claiming it's one of the worst films ever made.
So, the film would win a total of 5 Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff or Sequel, Worst On-Screen Couple, Worst Screenplay, Worst Director, and Worst Picture. Despite the negative views, Frank Waterfield and his production company, Jad Edge Productions, used this film to kickstart the Twisted Childhood universe, a cinematic universe based on a children's story in the public domain.
Oh, dear God.
I'm gonna be honest, I think we might only see a few of these because, a lot of people are really over cinematic universes. I mean, now, what's interesting is the second Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey film, I actually heard it's much better.
Yeah, but not by much, though.
Yeah, people are saying it's better, but it's still not fantastic. So, okay, so here's the thing about me. Originally, the reason I hated this is because I'm so over people taking stuff in the public domain and making it into a very lazy horror film. However, I think what actually bothers me the most about this whole thing, it's just not good.
No, it was...
in any way.
No, it's even by low-budget horror movie standards, it sucked.
Yeah.
And we'll get into why it sucks in a minute, but we might as well start from the beginning of this plot. We start off with some animated intro. It's not exactly animated, it's a bunch of ink sketches of Christopher Robin as a kid wandering into the Hundred Acre Woods, where he meets what the film describes as crossbreeds, like cat part animal, part man, and they don't explain where these characters come from.
No explanation on to how they got there or why they are there. They're just there. He never tells anybody, I guess. But he continues to see them until he gets to be probably around 18 or something.
Yeah, when it's time for him to go to college, and he leaves them, and apparently, I don't know how these animals survive survived until they met Christopher Robin, because they're left in a cave just on the brink of starvation, like they're all skin and bones. And out of desperation, and they eat Eeyore, the little donkey man.
Okay, so we gotta stop for a sec. So the thing is as Jad mentioned, one of the reasons they were really angry was because, Christopher Robin left them. But the thing is as Jad said, how did they survive before Christopher Robin? Did they just not go out and hunt? Could they not find any roots or nuts or berries to eat, like at all? Pardon the burp.
Couldn't they bake
but it's like,
couldn't they bake some Calistin pie or something?
yeah, like, just how did they not have?
That's a reference to the books, by the way, Calistin pie.
Yeah, that was, I think, a poem.
Yeah.
But like, the thing is,
and after this, sorry, you were about to say.
It makes them go like crazy.
Yeah, like they go feral and vow to go back to their animalistic roots and never talk again. But even this was done rather half-assed, because they still wear clothes and operate machinery.
And also, just the thing is, they don't look really like animals. It really just looks like somebody who's wearing a Winnie the Pooh mask and killing a bunch of people.
Yeah, then it's 5 years later, where Christopher Robin returns to the 100 Acre Woods with his fiancée, prowling on, showing, "Oh, you're a very special lady, you know that? Cause this is I never shown anyone this place before. Soon we will be Mrs. Christopher Robin, and I'll get all in that minge."
Oh my god. Like, literally. So this is another thing. Like I said, I think one of the reasons I didn't like... Okay. Jad, what did I message you? Like, what was one of the things I messaged you last...
You said the guy who played Christopher Robin sucked.
No, but like, what was one of the...
I gotta look it up.
It was... It was after you say, I watched it on Peacock. What did I say after that?
Let's see, oh, fuck me. I'm looking it up right now. You said the patient was bullshit, right?
Yes, that was like one of the first... Guys, pacing problems drive me nuts. I do not understand why. But like, the thing is we just jump into, hey, grown-up Christopher Robin, this woman is his fiance, and apparently he's only told like a few people about the 100 Acre Woods. What? Like, okay, but also then... Okay, so here's the thing about horror movies, specifically in slasher films. The people in slasher films are usually kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And it's been parodied too. Like, there was even a Geico commercial that like parodied it. And it's like, okay, so we could run to the gas station that has all the lights on and like call somebody, or we can go into this this like shed filled with razors and knives and all that stuff. Like, the thing about a slasher film is the people in charge have to be kind of stupid. So then, like, when the final girl or final guy comes by, you know, you're like, oh yay, finally somebody survived because they used their brain. But like, God, Christopher Robin's fucking stupid because, first of all, he takes his soon-to-be wife to this remote location that nobody really knows about. I don't think they brought their phones. Mm-mm. I'm not sure if they did.
And
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And the wife is like, yeah, I don't believe anything, Christopher Robin. I honestly think you're a bit of a loony. But I'm here for you. Oh, I don't care how crazy you come off. I'm here for you. Oh, God.
The dick cannot be that good.
And yeah.
I'm just saying.
So they come across what they say was a place Christopher Robin played as with his friends. And there was a cardboard blank with Eeyore R.I.P. written on it. Like, they come to an actual grave. Like, it doesn't even look like the grave in the animated segment opening. Like, they just got him from Home Depot, scribbled on and called it a day. And
You still there?
oh
yeah, you are.
Let's see. And they stumbled into this treehouse. Apparently, they had a treehouse, and Christopher Robin's fiance finds something, but because this is another thing about in the movie. She finds something that's supposed to be a picture of Christopher Robin, but we can't see very well or what they scribbled on there. And that's because of the lighting reflected on the picture and the camera's not zoomed in. Like, the lighting and cinematography in this movie is awful. Like, you can't see a lot of shots, especially when it's in dark scenes.
So bad.
Scenes.
And again, it's one of those things where if you like, when you don't notice it unless it's done badly. And it is done badly in here.
And, they hear something stomping in, so they hide under the bed until night falls. Yeah, they just wait until... They've been hiding under the fucking bed until it became dark, apparently, and a mysterious man falls asleep, and they start to sneak out past these trailers. I don't know where Pooh and Picnic got these trailers from, or how...
Yeah, no idea.
They were able to afford it. I'll take out a bank
Again,
loan
like, nothing's
for
really...
these...
Nothing's really explained.
It'll pay for itself in 6 months. And then... Oh, sorry.
Okay, so what happens next?
Christopher's fiance is choked to death by Piglet, who strangles her with these chains. And Piglet...
And
they just...
the entire time... Christopher Robin's like, Piglet, stop! Piglet, stop! I'm like,
no.
Dude, maybe you should try to help your wife. He's like not doing anything.
And Piglet looks awful. Like, I did just slap the warthog mask on him and called it a day.
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, again, I know this is supposed to be a horror film, but it doesn't. It's more like a warthog to me.
And this is when Christopher Robin runs into Pooh, who's dressed as a lumberjack. Like, they said that they were supposed to go back to their animalistic roots, but they're dressed as humans. They have a bunch of human-made stuff, and I don't see any of the animalistic roots in these two at all. And Robin is cornered by Pooh and Piglet, and it cuts to animation again, because apparently they couldn't afford to film any new scenes of Christopher Robin being dragged back to the cave to see the skeletal remains of ER. And at first I thought they just burned him to fucking death. That's what I thought at first, when I first saw this movie.
That's what I thought too.
Then we get a title drop and the opening credits where they showed off a bunch of tabloids and newspaper clippings and podcasts and news stuff about how the 100 Acre Woods is haunted and anyone who goes in never comes out. But then we don't have time for that because we meet our main protagonist. No, it's not Christopher Robin. I don't know why.
Okay.
They decided.
I was so confused because I'm like, wait a second, that can't be the end, right? Like, I was sitting here and I'm like, I even messaged you and I'm like, is this not about Christopher Robin? Like, nope, it's not about Christopher Robin. It's about a completely different character named Maria.
And yeah, she's in therapy, and she says she's never been the same ever since a guy snuck into her house to undress her while she was asleep. And Jesus Christ, oh God, like, okay, this is. What does this the fuck does this have to do with Winnie the Pooh? If you're gonna do an adaptation of Winnie the Pooh, like, go all the way, man. Like, grind up his victims into, like, a blood-soaked honey. Or how...
Yeah,
oh, my God.
It doesn't make any sense because here's the thing. Maria's, like, not related to, like...
anything
Christopher
in the
Robin
past,
at all.
Yeah.
Or anything related to A.A. Milne. I don't think he had a wife named Maria. I don't think that was his wife's name. I know he was married because Christopher Robin was based off his son. But, like, the thing is also, So this is a really big thing for me. I honestly believe that besides pacing, you know, when it comes to characters, they're like the most important thing. Because if you don't have interesting characters, we're not going to care. Like, and you can tell a story where the character was like kind of a dick. You know, like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is not really a nice character, but he's so charming and funny and interesting that we put up with a lot from Beetlejuice. But the thing is not only is Maria kind of boring, but her friends are also
stupid,
really boring.
So Maria's therapist suggests her go somewhere peaceful to take your mind off of everything, and they rent a cabin that's nearby the 100 Acre Woods. Apparently, like in the beginning, they said how the 100 Acre Woods is a dangerous place, and yet they rent a fucking cabin near the 100 Acre Woods.
Yep. It's like, people are like, hey, by the way, you guys shouldn't go to this, forest. A bunch of people were like killed. Okay, that sounds like a great place to go for a vacation to relax.
And they insist.
Doesn't, you dumb broad.
and on top of that, no phones. So if anything happens, and it really did, because one of the friends get lost in the woods, but because no cell phones, no one is able to accept their calls. And I
guess she also just doesn't have, she also said the GPS can't find it.
Yeah, and she gets lost in the 100 Acre Woods until Pooh finds her and chases her into a garage. And, okay, this scene was really jarring for me. Like, when Pooh corners her, he ripped her fucking shirt off and her boobs are out. Like, it was a really jarring moment. And
now, people are going to say, but a lot of slashers had TNA. Yeah, but not every slasher has to.
Especially a fucking Winnie the Pooh slasher. Like, oh god. Oh, just a bit of smackle on your tits.
It also doesn't make a lot of sense, just because why would he care if he hates humans? Like, that was the thing, is they're like, well, we hate, humanity now.
And, yeah, and it's pointless because he just bashes her head in against a wood chipper before shoving her head first inside, and we get some really bad CGI splatter effects.
See, this is another thing, is like, if you're gonna do a slasher, the most interesting thing should be the way, you kill the characters and stuff, but I was just like, meh.
Yeah, and
did you find them disturbing, or you were like, ooh, that's really bad, or anything? I was just like, eh.
Yeah, a majority of deaths actually happen on screen. So you don't really see anything, and the special effects only make things even worse. And back at the cabin, these two other girls, have got the name, but they're in lesbians with each other. And when they arrive to the room, one of them reveals that she called to arrange a bunch of rose petals on the bed. It says, you don't like it?
Who the heck owns this cabin?
I think we're moving too fast. And rose petals is too fast for you? Really?
Yeah, that's really tame, but also, okay, if you guys, don't know us, you guys know we love the gay shit.
Mm-hmm.
We eat that shit up. Both me and Dad, we're part of the LGBT community. We are two of the biggest bisexuals you're probably ever going to find.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, for you to make a lesbian couple and us, not care, you have failed. Because I was just like, oh, they're
Yeah, it's just lesbians. An oh, by the way thing. That's what I felt like.
Yeah, it felt so weird. And I was like, why is this in this of all movies? It's like, and here's the thing, I recently just got finished reading a really interesting a horror novel where the main character is gay. So it was just like, it's like, once you've had the best, you do not want the rest.
Yeah, and as if that titties on display wasn't enough for you, we get this other girl who's like a Instagram hashtag selfie type of lady who's applying her makeup as he's preparing to do a bunch of Instagram posts for the hot tub, even though they took the phones away.
So I don't know. Was this a second phone? Where'd she get it?
Maybe she just smuggled it up a hoo-ha like the drug peddlers.
I don't know, but also the thing is okay, so, like, another thing is just, okay, first of all, I feel like the director here has never actually met
a woman.
Yeah,
and it's so...
But it also...
Yeah, like...
It also seems like he doesn't like them, because it's just like, okay, so here's the thing. If my friend's like, hey, I had a really scary interaction where some dude tried to, like, break into my house, could you guys come with me on a trip for moral support? If I was a real friend, I wouldn't go to the hot tub, get in my bikini, put on makeup, and then start taking pictures of myself. It's like, shouldn't you go and be, like, supporting your friend? What the fuck are you guys doing? She seems like such a shitty friend.
I know. And yet, and also the scene of Maria opening up about trauma. It does, spoilers, it doesn't really go anywhere. There's no counter arc. She doesn't overcome her fear. Because you'll see why. But enough of that, because apparently back at Pooh and Piglet's lair, apparently it's generated via one of those bicycle cyclist thing.
That scene was fucking stupid. I was like, seriously? These are the killers?
And Christopher, apparently, is all chained up and shirtless now as he's begging with Pooh. I know you're still good, Pooh. I know you're still good. And Pooh just looks into the mirror like it's supposed to be dramatic. But I can just see the eye holes of the actors in a mask. I get a flashback of him with Christopher Robin as a kid, and this another example of how the terrible CG special effects is Pooh just going all wide-eyed as honey drips from his face. Like he's supposed to snap, but it's more like...
I think he might have been... I think he was supposed to be crying, maybe? I think.
No, it's more like, oh, these edibles ain't shit.
Okay, but I want to just say something. I kind of feel bad for the guy who's, like, playing Pooh. Like, so here's my thing. I don't like blaming actors for bad performances usually, because like, I feel like people... So I'm a theater kid. I did some acting in college. I was even the lead for a play. And the thing is, you can't just not say what's on the script. You can't just go off script unless the director says that's okay. And I do really feel like the actor who's playing Pooh was trying...
Rooty?
Yes? Am I still here? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. I've been having computer problems, but I was worried I disconnected. But, like, I'm going to see, what is his name? Craig David Dowsett. I think he was, like, actually trying. And I'm also going to be completely honest. I kind of think the idea of Winnie the Pooh becoming, like, a killer and then trying to get revenge on Christopher Robin, but also grappling with how he feels about it, and also like feeling kind of guilty. I think that could have been interesting, but it's just it's just not working.
Yeah, just execute badly.
Not working.
And then what does Pooh do? Rip Christopher Robin with Eeyore's tail.
Jesus Christ, I fucking hate this movie.
And you think that would be enough, but no, they decided to go a step further with by Pooh just pointlessly bringing in the skinned and remains of Robin's fiancée, her skeletal remains right in front of him as he just showers him in a blood. Okay, that's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, again, they're supposed to go back to the animalistic roots, but they're just torturing him now. And it
also...
You think they'd just be, stalking and hunting, but no, just physical and mental torture now.
But I think the thing is just, it's also just, hey, look at how dark and gritty. And
it feels, I know I probably said this before when this movie was first announced, but it really does feel like it was written by a teenage edgelord who spent too much time on fanfiction.net.
The teenager who thinks he understands life, and he's so deep, and he thinks that anything that is made for children is stupid and for babies. It just feels so... honestly, I think really what I found so weird, it's this just feels kind of lame. Because if you were going to do this, you either need to go, balls to the wall, or just... put just a little bit more effort into this, because I do think it was trying to make us care about the relationship between Pooh and Christopher Robin, but it's just, how can we? It's so hard to.
I know. And so Pooh, as he's walking through the woods, he overhears the Instagram girl in the hot tub that's drinking wine and taking selfies and
being a shitty ass friend.
And as she takes one picture, she notices Pooh in the background of her phone, and you think that would terrify her and scare him to go into the house, but she only just calls out for a bit before just going back to the hot tub like nothing happened.
This girl's a fucking moron.
Part of me is convinced Apollo hated herself too much, as well as she cared if she lived or die or not. And
probably, I guess.
And so they, Pooh and Piglet sneak up on her and chloroform her. Then they hog tie her as Pooh is in a car, one of the cars I believe the girls took in, as he just revs up the engine and slowly drives over her head. And it feels like, oh god, what was I going to say? Yeah, they just use the Photoshop effect to just stretch her head slightly to make it look like she's being squished.
And it's not... It's scary, or... It's honestly just... Again, it's just really lame.
And you don't even see it get crushed because it suddenly cuts to Piglet laughing.
It's dude, if you're gonna be gory, either go all the way or don't. Make up your minds.
And suddenly the girls notice the beheaded girlfriend. They rush into the house to one of the others, and they notice the words "Get out" written on the windows. And oh god, I'm starting to remember this. What they said: "Whoever killed her wrote that." Yeah.
Okay, how do you know that?
And oh god, I'm trying to. So they get separated as Winnie the Pooh stalks him and he's surrounded by bees. Why? Yeah, we know he runs honey, but that doesn't mean he's attuned to the way of the bee.
Yeah, and bees, if you if you're not a beekeeper, if you invade their space,
they're gonna sting the fuck out of you.
And you try to, and if you try to take the honey, or if you maybe try to take the queen, they will attack you. And being stung by a bee, not fun. Bees will leave you alone if you don't bother them, but if you antagonize a bee and you're not a beekeeper,
or if you're disguised
as
a little black rain cloud. And so Pooh, so the girls are separated, and one of them gets knocked out by a sledgehammer by Piglet, while the other just falls into the indoor pool they had, and Piglet tries to rip her while she's in the water with a chain. But it was nah, fuck that. So he goes in the water with the sledgehammer and does beat her to death. You never see the fatal blow, by the way. And the yellow girl just wakes up and is taken by Piglet. And the yellow girl just follow her back to the hideout. And that's where they see, alright. The one girl is tied up as she watches Winnie the Pooh just eat honey with his bare hands. And I kind of cracked up when Pooh just whipped his head to the camera like he heard a sound. That's probably the only type of action Pooh gets in this movie. And for some reason, he starts slapping the lady. With his...
Why? We don't know.
Nope. But when Pooh leaves, they find an entire and they rescue Christopher Robin, who's like, "No, go, leave me. And for some reason,
dude, they can save you.
And for some reason, the music almost had some kind of enchanted tone to it. For some reason, it doesn't match the tone at all. And as they escape, they meet this one woman who was been there for a day, but the way she talks about it, it sounds like she's been there for a lot longer, who says that Piglet just comes in and just tortures her for no reason, which leaves her with a bunch of claw marks on her face. And as they try to help her out, Milne reveals she has a gun because of her paranoia after the dramatic experience. And the woman stops when she sees her reflection in the window, and she's saying, "I'm not leaving till Piglet dies," and just takes the gun. And you think the girls will be smart enough to just leave, but no, they just keep a distance from the woman to see what happens. And the woman is desperate to get Piglet's attention, so she fires off a black round into the air to get his attention. But apparently Maria failed to tell her that she only had one bullet, because when she tries to shoot, it just clicks. And then Pooh comes in, forces the woman onto the ground and pours honey right into her face. And
honey is sticky. That's so gross.
And Piglet just eats her face, but you never see it.
Yeah.
And as the two girls leave, when Pooh notices them, another one stays and beats Piglet to get death with a sledgehammer. And now I don't know how fast these fucking animals can travel, but Pooh was chasing Yellow Girls deep into the woods, and when she heard Piglet's dying squeal, he suddenly just appears and just stabs the girl right in the mouth.
Now, I know they're supposed to be, killers and stuff, but does anyone feel like they're just a little
why are they
cruel
supposed to go
this?
back to the animalistic use? Why are they using knives and weapons?
Yeah, wouldn't they be using, their teeth and claws and stuff like that?
And the two girls flee into the woods where they meet these four rednecks who are like, "What the hell's got into you? What's wrong, little lady?" And that's when they encounter Pooh, and they try beating the crap out of him, but he does slaps one with his gloved yellow hand, which apparently makes his face ace come off. And then he kills the other, stomps one head in, and this part was probably the most stupidest part of this movie. And that was saying a lot, considering the shit I saw. As one guy flees, Pooh just waves his arm to summon a bunch of bees to sting him to death.
That's not how it works. Okay, so I'm not a beekeeper, but there is this really popular beekeeper on TikTok, and she's been doing this for years, and she explains what you have to do in order to get bees to not attack you, how to get them to trust you, because bees are very I don't want to say they're nervous, but they're like, they're hive insects.
Yeah. And
So they're all like, it's like, so it's just, that's not how bees would work. You use like a special type of smoke to calm bees down to get to do what you want. You don't just raise your hand and the bees are just like, okay, we'll do whatever you want.
So the girls try to flee in the redneck's car, but Pooh climbs onto him and they crash. And when Maria wakes up, she sees Pooh holds her friend's severed head. And so she drives right into him and he crashes against a tree. And and yet Pooh still survives and somehow, and right before he can stab her, another car crashes into Pooh and charges him against the other car, and turns out it's Christopher Robin driving the other car.
Yeah, because he got away because the girls helped him escape.
And yet, despite this, they try to get away, but Pooh holds Mira by her hair, and Christopher Robin tries to plead with Pooh to spare her, saying that he'll stay in the 100 Acre Woods for the rest of his life if he does. But Pooh says his only...
I think that's what Pooh wants.
And that's when Pooh says his only line of dialogue in the whole film. You left in that in Dr. Claw or Inspector Gadget voice.
Ugh, it was bad. He said, you left us, right? Isn't that what he
just
said?
said you left. And so he slits Mira's throat. And Pooh, and they're supposed to make this a sad scene, but Christopher Robin's, his crying sounds awful. Like,
no, again, like I said, I normally don't like to be like, oh, this is a terrible actor. This guy is not a good actor. I am so sorry. But he is awful. Like, okay, so at the beginning when he's talking about, living in the 100 Acre Woods and all that, it doesn't come off as him, like, being, oh, this was such a, a wonderful, magical place. It comes off as some dude who hasn't taken his meds.
Yeah.
And that's not what the scene is supposed to be. I don't actually feel like he is really Christopher Robin,
No. And so Pooh stabs Mira's corpse repeatedly in the head while Christopher Robin just runs into the woods. And that's the end of the fucking movie.
So I'm just going to say this. Two things. Please don't go see the new Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movie when it comes out. There's a lot better stuff to watch. But also, we're not doing this again.
God, I hope not.
I'm sorry. It's like, again, my thing is just I ended up being so bored. I was like, I have two screens, so I was playing the movie on one screen while I was playing a game on the other, because it's like I need something else to focus on. Like, I was focusing on the movie and stuff, but God, it was hard. Again, like, here's my thing. If you're going to take a concept of a character that is, really friendly and cute and sweet, and then make them dark, you actually have to put the effort into it. Now, this is going to be a major spoiler for the book, Darling by A.K. Ankrum, but I've talked about this book before. In the book, it's a modern day retelling of Peter Pan. And in it, what happens is Wendy Darling has moved to Chicago, and she meets Peter, and she's like really captivated by him. But the thing is like the people around him seem scared of him. And then you find out Peter Pan's not actually a child. Peter Pan is an adult man who appears to be younger.
Oh.
And like the reason that worked is because that's an actual thing. There are people who have some sort of condition where they age, but they like their bodies maybe don't grow and their faces stay the same. And also in the original book, spoilers for the original Peter Pan book, Peter Pan kills the Lost Boys when they get too old.
Oh shit!
And that
really?
Yeah, and that's yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
And that's what they they do in Darling, where these two missing kids, it turns out they were part of like Peter's crew and he killed them because they got too old, you know, like it made sense. I feel like Kay Ancrum like actually understood the story of Peter Pan better than I feel like this director did.
Wow. And oh god, that reminds me of this other shit. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it's called The Lost Boy. Let me double check. It's Lost Boy by Christina. Hang on. Ah, shit. Fucking. Christina Henry. Yeah, so basically, the plot of this book is that it tells the story of the first Lost Boy, which is a young man named James who was the first boy to enter Neverland, but and Peter Pan's first friend. But what he begins to notice is how Peter Pan never grows up, but sees the Lost Boys as replaceable and pushes them to go on adventures, even if they're sick or dying from whatever natural illness they're infected in the Neverland forest or killed by pirates. Pirates. And how James will go on to grow up to be Captain Hook.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. Like, that also makes sense. Because I think, again, the thing is a lot of people are just like, okay, in order to make something that's sort of, for kids, scary, we just have to add a bunch of blood and guts. No, you have to actually think it through. Like, even the video game, Alice Madness Returns, the people who made that game actually put some thought and effort into it. And also, it's obvious they liked the book by Lewis Carroll. It's like, guys, you gotta just, again, we say this a lot, we're gonna be broken records, just put effort in. Not only is this thing lazy, it's just bad. There is nothing here. Like, there's no good music, there's no talented actors. Everything about this just sucks. It is genuinely unpleasant, and normally I wouldn't say don't watch this. I really don't think anybody should. There's just nothing here.
So, goes without saying, but I'm giving this a 0. Jesus Christ.
Same.
And now they got a bunch of other fucking movies set in the same universe.
I'm not seeing a single one of them. You will have to drag me to them, like, crying and screaming. I'm not doing it. I like, literally, if someone says, do the other movies, no, we're not doing them. We're done. This is the only one we are doing. Never ever again.
And hopefully the news will have some better stuff to put me in a better mood. Oh, fuck me. Jesus.
Yeah, like, we're starting off with something really, really sad. And this is also, like, this happened in October, on, like, the 1st of October, but Broadway star Ken Page, the original voice of Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas, has died at 70.
Yeah, not only...
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, this really hit us like a train. Like, not only did he star as voice Oogie Boogie ever since the film, and he was also a Broadway actor who starred in hit musicals like The Wiz, Cats, and Guys and Dolls. And Ain't Misbehavin'. Oh, wow.
Yep. He was a legit, like, triple threat. There is a production of Cats that they filmed and sold as a DVD. You can still get it. He played Old Deuteronomy, because he had also played Old Deuteronomy, I think, on Broadway. I think it was probably Broadway. And, God, he was so good as Old Deuteronomy. Just, it's so frustrating.
I think the last time I saw him was back in summer at that D23 Expo, where he did a cover of Poor Unfortunate Souls.
He also really loved being Oogie Boogie.
Like he was a fun villain.
Really enjoyed it. He also, he was in Touched by an Angel. In an episode, he was Ox. Okay. So, yeah, like, this just really, again, and it started at, like, the beginning of Halloween. And said like, so I know that in he is in Kingdom Hearts, Oogie Boogie's in Kingdom Hearts. If they have him again, I kind of hope they do something like in honor of, Ken Page or something. It's just, again, like to start off October like this just really freaking hurts.
Yeah,
but let's move on to some of the better stuff.
And
so we won't be in such a terrible mood.
An animated movie focused on Robin, titled Dynamic Duo, is announced.
Woo!
Now, specifically, it focuses on 2 different Robins, the Dick Grayson and Jason Todd incarnations of the characters. Yes. And this is going to be one of the first animated film projects from the newly formed DC Studios under James Gunn's supervision. And let's see. And it's been the animation services are being handled by Straybot Studios, who specialize in hybrid animation from stop. Like I saw one video they did. It was like a hybrid between stop motion, computer animation, and motion capture. Like it was insane.
Yeah. So and someone also I think posted like a behind the scenes thing where it's like they were using. It was like an animatronic, but the animatronic looked like a cartoon. Like these guys are obviously very talented, and like I'm excited for this, but I'm also really happy that James Gunn decided to sort of take
a risk.
I don't want to say like I guess you could say it's a risk to work with a studio that's not a big name.
Yeah, like I
always appreciate that.
Yeah, like he seems to be willing to experiment and with different animation techniques for the DC Films label, and I'm looking forward to that, especially with how widely different the 2 incarnations of Robin are. Like Dick Grayson grew up to be Nightwing, and Jason Todd became the Red Hood, and who's like a completely different and not really a hero, more like a vigilante.
Yeah, kind of like an anti-hero.
Okay, and you seem to. I think you added this.
No, I think you added this.
Oh yeah, and Scream setting released it. In February of 2026, and they're still making these movies apparently. Yeah, like apparently the lead actress was fired from being in this movie because of her anti-Zionist views and speaking out on behalf of the Palestinians. So, I'm not gonna watch.
Yeah, fuck this. Yeah. And also Jenna Ortega, she couldn't help in the film because she's filming the second season of Wednesday, I think. It's the second season, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't think this one's gonna do as well. And also, people are still really pissed about how they treated Melissa Barrera. So, I think I'm gonna skip this one too. I'm good.
Yeah, and let's see. And since I got the last 2, you get this.
Okay, I'm really excited about this. Avatar: The Last Airbender is getting an AARPG. I am so excited. Like, I feel like in the past few years we've been getting a lot of really good Avatar: The Last Airbender content, which makes me happy. So it is going to be, like I said, an AARPG.
AAA RPG,
that is taking place
means, in big budget.
Yeah. They say it's going to be the busiest video game in franchise history. I mean, we'll see. But also, I think this might be... I don't know if there's any other Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No, there's been some pretty low-budget ones that were awful.
Yeah. So this one, it seems like they're... Yeah, see, Airbender has had a long mixed history in video games, so this seems like it's going to focus more on, like...
An original Avatar takes place thousands of years before the original series.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting just because, like, the world of Avatar has such an interesting world.
And
like,
lore.
I think that's one of the reasons the show has continued to have such a large dedicated fan base. And besides, like, the books that they have been releasing, we're also getting, I think it's going to be 3 movies. I think right now they're working on the Kyoshi one. So it's like, if you're a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, you are eating really good.
Mm-hmm. And Yeah,
want me
you
to
get this.
do this one, or do you want to do
this
it?
other one.
Okay. So again, if you've been listening for a while, you guys know that both me and Jad are major animation fans. We love animation. We also think it should be, treated as a medium, not a genre. And the animation industry has been in sort of a rough spot, but I think things might I think this bit of news might help because this has been a historic box office weekend. 5 of the top 10 feature films in the box office are animated.
Yes.
We have the Wild Robot that came in at number 2. Transformers Run came in at number 5. Piece by Piece overtook Transformers 1. But My Hero Academia, You're Next, came in at 8. And then the re-release of The Nightmare Before Christmas came in at number 9.
Yeah. This is amazing.
And why is that funny, Jad?
Because it's after a big budget comic book film flopped. And more than half of the box office and more than half the films in the top 10 box office that weekend were all animated. Wow.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at the dailies. The Wild Robot is back at, it's back at number 1.
Oh, damn.
Oh, my goodness. And Nightmare Before Christmas is at 8, My Hero Academia at 9, Piece by Piece at 6, and Transformers 1 at 5. Now, the reason Jad was laughing and why I was kind of laughing is because of our next bit of news. Jad, would you read the next bit of news?
Joker 2 underperforms on its opening weekend with a $40 million debut. And after the numbers were more accurately tallied, it actually ended up making below 40 million, like 39 million. So its opening was even worse than Morbius.
That's right. It was worse than Morbius, and and Lady Webb actually has apparently a better rating than this.
Yeah, and this is Warner Bros. Was hyping the fuck out of this film. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing any promotions for it. And some people were expecting it to open up to 70 million, but then it got lowered to 65 million, then 50 million, but 39 million. And this is a really far cry from how the original had a 96 million opening weekend.
That's bad.
And what's even worse is that while the movie had a $65 million budget, this one has a $200 million budget. Because Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, and director Todd Phillips wanted a bigger paycheck.
Okay, so I'm also looking at the the dailies for this week. So the Wild Robot today, it made 3 billion, and it only had a 24% drop, but Joker only made 928,000, and that is a 53% drop.
And yeah, and people are even estimating that Joker 2 could lose, Warner Bros. Could lose up anywhere between $150 million to $200 million on this movie.
God, what's really funny is the Beetlejuice sequel, Beetlejuice, that's been out for 39 days. It's almost been a month. It is number 3. Joker Folie à Deux is at number 4.
Yeah, it had an 81% drop in its second weekend, which NSA is the biggest drop for any comic book movie ever. But the previous record belonged to the Marvels, but Joker 2 managed to beat one record at least.
This is okay. This thing is people want to said, oh, the Marvels is bad. The Marvels was not this bad. I haven't seen it, but people are saying it's not as bad as people said it is. But dude, the fact that this did worse than Morbius, oh my god, that is legitimately shocking. Because I don't know anybody who genuinely liked like Morbius, because it was like it became like a meme,
Yeah, like critics hated, audiences rejected it. So this is gonna be another humiliating release for Warner Brothers during a very tumultuous time for them.
And like, they did so well until the second Beetlejuice movie has been doing phenomenal. I have seen I go to Hot Topic a lot. Yes, I still shop at Hot Topic, and they have a whole section of Beetlejuice merch. I see so many people stopping and being like, "Oh my gosh, Beetlejuice!" And then they just ruined their momentum with this. What on earth?
Yeah, like
happened?
Beetlejuice made at least 400 million worldwide, and this is the flop of Joker 2 is gonna just completely eat into those profits.
Oh yeah, I think probably this is going to be maybe what wakes them up a little bit and maybe makes them change some stuff, just because I don't know. Hang on, let me check. I'm going to see what else Warner Brothers is releasing this year, but I really doubt there's going to be anything that can.
Yeah, like apparently the failure of the film
recoup.
is putting even more pressure on James Gunn's upcoming Superman.
Here's the thing. I have all faith in James Gunn, but like after this, it's like, okay, let me see. We are in 2024, right?
Yep. And
okay, let me scroll the way up. Okay, so this is 2024. Horizon, an American Chapter. No, that is coming out this year. What else is coming out? Okay, upcoming. That was already released. Salem's Lot, was that released? I haven't heard anything of that. Something called Cowdo Lake. Juror number 2 is coming out on November 1st. Red One. Oh, this is the Christmas movie that also looks like an action film. Is coming out on November 15th. Sweethearts, an upcoming romantic comedy. It's coming out on November 28th. Oh, okay, so the Lord of the Rings movie, The War of Rohirrim, it might make the money, but I'm not 100% sure. And that's like it for 2024. Mm-hmm. They might be in trouble, guys.
yeah.
I mean, we already knew that, but damn. All right. But we have some more good news.
Oh, just me? Okay. The Wild Robot sequel is in the works. Chris Sanders returned to direct
party
it.
Over here. Party over there. Yes.
Yeah, I think we said this, already said this, but the Wild Robots, despite its modest opening, it seems to have some real legs on it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. The art book on Amazon is actually became the #1 bestseller, and it was just released.
Yeah, and also it's based on a series of books, so they got some more stuff to work with.
Yeah, some people's like, why make a sequel? But I read the book and I saw the movie, and the way they ended the movie, they set it up for the potential sequel. I don't want to give spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but when I was watching the movie, I got really excited and I whispered to my friends they're leaving it open for the sequel, because we both thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, this is one of the times where it's I'm fine if this movie gets a sequel, because it does have a sequel. There are 2 more books. It's The Wild Robot Escapes, and I think, hang on, let me check. Wild Robot. What was the other one?
I can't remember for the life of me.
Wild Robot Protects. That's the other one. So, and like I said, the movie it does have legs, and it's been doing really good. And the fact that a movie that's been out for, I think, about 2 weeks, topped a new movie that came out when did Joker 2 come out? Was it last weekend, or let me see.
Joker 2 came out 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's just, again, this movie is proving to be an instaclastic. I have a feeling this movie will probably rack up a lot of awards, but yeah, I'm happy about this. Chris Sanders is open to doing a sequel, and I think so I think we'll probably get the sequel. I need to read the other 2 books. I'm also excited about this news. Can I read it? Can I read it? Our Lord and Savior, the haughty goddess herself, Megan Thee Stallion, is releasing a documentary on October 31st called In Her Words. Now, Jad, who is my favorite artist?
Megan Thee Stallion.
Who is, like, my celebrity crush?
Megan Thee Stallion.
If I could, like, be reincarnated as somebody, who would I want to be reincarnated as?
Megan Thee Stallion's chair.
Yes, but guys, y'all don't understand how much I love this woman. And despite all the bullshit this woman has dealt with, she has been doing so well. She went back on tour. Her shows have been selling out. All of her songs that she's released this year have done really well. She like went to Japan, and I was kind of surprised she came back because Japan freaking loves Megan. Like, they love the song Mashi she did. That song, it's been on, like, it's become a TikTok song and everything. So it's like, this has been her year. And she's going to be, like, releasing a documentary that goes into her life and also talking about, you know, how she dealt with getting, you know, like, getting shot and all that stuff and how it, like, affected her and her mental health. I'm really looking forward to this because I want to support the Queen Hottie in any way, shape, or form I can.
Yeah, and I hope she doesn't disappoint me like Lizzo.
Oh God, fingers crossed. If she disappoints me like Lizzo, I'm gonna. I think I'll die. Like, literally, I think I will.
Okay, and oh yeah, I remember John talking about this. One Piece anime is going on hiatus.
Thank God.
So why is this good news? Because the Japanese animation industry kind of has a habit of overworking its animators, especially when it comes to anime adaptations of shonen. And like, they insist on having an episode out making it a weekly show, no breaks, no seasons, just constant. And if they catch up to the manga, they gotta make a bunch of shit up. At least
That's what happened with the original Sailor Moon. Because the artist making Sailor Moon, she was working on it while they were doing the anime. So, you know, they had to come up with a bunch of different ideas on the fly. But the thing is that the discussion about how Japanese animators are treated has become a hot button topic, not just for Japan, but everybody. Because they also think that's what happened to the guy who did Dragon Ball Z,
Akira Toriyama,
because he was still working. Yeah, he was working on something else, but everybody seriously thinks that the reason he died was because he was overworking himself because he had a brain hemorrhage, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, he had a brain hemorrhage, but they think that, like, you know, he continued to overwork himself, causing his health to decline, and that made the hemorrhage easier to, like, you know, like, kill him, unfortunately. And yeah, like, he was 68, but it's like, dude, it's like, really, like, Oda, the guy who writes One Piece, announced he took a break, and I was like, oh, thank God, because, like, guys, One Piece is really, really long.
Yeah, like, insanely
long.
And
it's still going.
Yeah, some studios are trying to change things by doing seasons, like American TV shows. So the animators have more time to work with, so they can focus on quality over quantity.
Yeah, like, while the animation industry in America also has issues, that's one thing that I do think is better, is that instead of doing, like, the entire show all together, they give them, it's like, okay, they write a season, take a break, then while that season's airing, they maybe start productions on the second season, you know? So, like, I know people are going to be like, oh man, we're going to have to wait. Guys, just let the animators
breathe,
rest, please, okay? I don't want anyone else to die, okay? Just let them live, let them go spend time with their families, have some good food, and let them just rest. Please, for the love of God.
Oh shit, thank God you added this one, because I forgot about this one. Pokemon developer Game Freak suffers a massive hack. Like, apparently they got data was stolen on not just unannounced games, but the coding for the Nintendo Switch 2, but also other employees' personal information as well.
Why? Nobody really knows, but also not cool, whoever did this. Like, I don't think, like, people would have been so ticked off if it was just, like, some, like, sketches or some possible story ideas or something like that. But it's like people's legitimate info was hacked, and I don't think they don't know who it is or who did it.
Yeah, like, source code for some of the games was leaked. Pokemon game that had a codename Synapse was mentioned, and some ideas they had for Pokemon lore, which was interesting.
To say the least.
Yeah, well, but let's just say they took inspiration from ancient feudal Japanese mythology, where a man made love to an artillery Pokemon multiple times.
Again, I said this is for children.
No, so I can imagine why Game Freak didn't want to go through with it.
So the thing is this is like a massive security breach. So I kind of wouldn't be shocked if they find out who did it, just because, like, it's not just the fact that, like, stuff like designs were leaked. It's the fact that people's personal info was leaked, and it wasn't just current employees; it was also former employees too.
Yeah, like, oh my God. So here's hoping that whoever's responsible for this, they find the bastard.
Yeah, I hope they find them, because this is not okay. There was no reason for the people who were working at Game Freak to have their personal info leaked. That is just not acceptable.
But we do have some better news.
You added this, and I am excited about this.
Oh no, wait, you skipped the last one.
Wait, I did?
Max cancels Velma after 2 seasons.
Oh, thank God.
So, news came out shortly after the release of the Velma Halloween special that one of the artists who worked on the show said it wasn't going to be cancelled. Said it was going to be cancelled, but they deleted the post. And then Max finally confirmed, yeah, it's cancelled.
Well, yeah, nobody was going to be, heartbroken that it was cancelled, so I don't know why they, told them to delete the comic, because it's okay, so I want to say something. I have nothing against the animators for Velma, because despite all the issues, the animation's actually probably the best part of the show.
Oh yeah, the animation and art style, it's totally serviceable.
It's fine. It's not sloppy or anything, but it's
yeah, but it's the writing that is the biggest sin for the show.
Because the writing affected the plot, the characters, the humor, and it reminds me a lot of Winnie the Pooh, Bud and Honey. It's it feels like it feels like an edgy teenager who thinks they understand how to properly write horror is doing it, and that's one of the reasons the show did so poorly, was because there's again nothing there. So while I do feel bad for the people who lost their job, I'm not losing any sleep over this.
No, this is one show where we won't be mourning. Okay, and now onto the part you're excited about.
Oh yeah, you added this. I'm super excited about this.
Oh, do you want to get this, or?
No, you can do it, because you added
Nubia is now playable in Multiverses. So, for those of you who aren't too familiar with the DC lore, Nubia was introduced in the 1970s as one of the Amazonian sisters to Wonder Woman. They grew up together and trained together. And just like Wonder Woman, Nubia was trained extensively in combat like the other Amazons. And eventually in the comics, she would inherit the throne of Temestria and become the new queen of the Amazons. You said that, Rooty?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just listening to you explain.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is her first appearance outside of the comics.
Yeah. She hasn't appeared in any movies or animated stuff yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that, especially with how long she's been around.
Oh, yeah.
And
this is not like a new character. She's been around for a while.
And she's voiced by the amazingly talented Kimberly Brooks. Some of you might know her as the voice of Jasper and several other characters in Steven Universe. Yes! Princess Aloha in the Voltron Legendary Defenders. And yeah, she sounds amazing as a Nubia.
I'm excited.
So yeah.
And again, this isn't like a skin, it's a
dedicated character.
It's a character.
She plays differently than Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman is a tank, but Nubia is in the assassin class, meaning she's quick and nimble with lots of combo potential, but she has a frail air defense and is lightweight. But thankfully, her spear has some great range to keep her opponents at a distance, and she has a lot of combo potential to really put the pressure on her opponents. And so I can see her being popular with the more competitive players in multiverses. Yes. And
I'm watching the trailer.
We got some more good news. Terrifier 3 debuts to #1 at the box office, dethroning Joker. Terrifier 3 debuted to #1 at 18 million. Now,
oh no.
I think it has less than half the theaters it's playing in than Joker at this point. But already it's the highest grossing film in the trilogy. And it has a low budget of $2 million. And
yeah, that's actually really surprising. It's made $23 million, so that is $21 million more dollars. So that's like what? 10 times its budget, I think?
Nearly 10 times, yes. Yes, and this Terrifier became the first Terrifier was like a cult classic slasher film, and the sequel was crowdfunded and then became a sleeper hit solely through word of mouth. And I actually gotta get around to seeing these movies sometime. But one thing I do appreciate about them is they're not for the screamers. No, not by much. Theaters you'll see multiple warning signs, and they even give out buff bags. But it's just unapologetic about how it refuses to desensitize itself.
Yeah. And I think this one works a little bit better than, Woody the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I think it understands how to do the slasher genre better. If that makes sense.
And it's extensive with its use of practical effects. They have a different dummy for each, not only for each different kill, but each specific scene of a kill.
I actually really appreciate that. They're putting in effort, but it's also showing that you can make a film that doesn't cost $200 million and still have it be a success, which I think is another reason a lot of people are happy about this. Because films, for some reason, have gotten a lot more expensive to film for some reason.
I'm looking it up. It has a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's the critics score, and the audience gave it an 89%. So yeah, the critics and the fans are loving it.
And also, everyone seems to really enjoy the character of Art the Clown. That's the
main villain.
The bad, yeah. So, yeah, again, I'm really happy for this just because I'm really appreciative to see a film that sort of started as kind of like a cult classic thing get so much love and attention. And this also shows that when fans come together for the right reasons, we can make a difference. So I'm really excited for this. I really do need to see the films. People told me that I would probably like them, but
it's amazing that an indie slasher beat out a big budget comic book Hollywood movie. It's amazing.
I know. Another clown defeated another clown. But like again, it also just is sort of indicative that just because a movie has a bigger budget, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good.
Okay, and we got some more good news, especially for those on the West Coast.
Woohoo.
You got this?
Yes. Disneyland announces dates for Tiana's Bayou Adventure preview. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, like they'll be having previews at the end of the month, October 21st. Well, it'll be open to the general public on November 15th. And
for those of you who are maybe a little confused, Disney World and Disneyland are two separate parks.
yeah, Disney World is located in Orlando, Florida, and Disneyland's in Anaheim, California. Not like both are extensive retheming and overhaul of Splash Mountain, which is based on the infamous Song of the South film.
Disney's one thing they are ashamed of.
The elephant in the room, as I like to call it. And so, I believe it was sometime in 2020 that they announced both will begin a rethemed, and the one in Magic Kingdom in Orlando came first, like earlier this year, I believe.
Yes, so this one's going to be opening in June of next year. And people's like, that's kind of fast. Well, see, what they do is they'll usually have like the concepts of everything ready, and they won't show that until they're maybe, I don't know, like halfway done. Like they'll show like the progress, but they won't show it like right away so that people don't get their like hopes up or it takes too long. So this opened up like relatively, quick, but now it's going to be, at both the parks, because like we said, they've been trying really, really hard to retheme Song of the South. You don't really see Song of the South in the parks that often. Do they still have the face characters for Briar Fox and Briar Bear?
No, I don't believe so. And although in the queue for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, in the little work desk, you can see a little small figurine of a rabbit, a fox, and a bear, which is a very subtle reference to the previous incarnation. And also to coincide with the opening of the Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Disneyland, it's going to be opening up in a section of Critter Country, which it was as part of the area that hosts the Country Bear Jamboree and the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. But now the area is going to be renamed to Bayou Country to better fit the theming.
Oh, okay.
And it also makes sense because it's like a quick walk away from the New Orleans section of the park.
Yeah, and Tiana is from New Orleans. That's like the New Orleans also plays a humongous like role in the film, with the food and the lore. But I just want to once again say that the reason they chose Princess and the Frog is because it's much more modern. They already have a Frozen ride, and people have been asking for more like Princess and the Frog stuff in the
parks. Yeah,
in the parks. And like in general, so it's like, of course it would also make sense because, in a way, you see, Song of the South was based off these stories of Brer Rabbit. Brer Rabbit was stories.
It's based on the folklore
that was
of
told
African American stories that were often told in times of the U.S. Slavery period, where parents would tell them to their kids as a sort of escapism.
Yeah, so it kind of like makes sense, but again, it's more of a sort of a racial thing. Disney has been actually, for all the mistakes they made, they have been trying to make the parks more inclusive. They recently changed.
The Peter Pan.
It was in a Peter Pan.
Peter Pan ride in Magic Kingdom. Like they did a complete overhaul of the Native Village section because. Not only did they remove the stereotypes, but they also made them more accurate to the culture with the designs and the clothing. Like
again, this is also coming from two people who are huge Disney fans. As much as we love Disney, they have made a lot of really unsavory and unpleasant depictions of people of color. So to see them, taking these criticisms to heart and changing them is actually hopeful for the future. And like I'm even looking at the previous version of the Neverland Tribe in Peter Pan's Flight. Jesus,
Yeah,
So
like
bad.
Tiger Lily has an all new outfit. It's like a blue with. Oh, I saw some pictures of Native Americans wearing blue. I believe. Like they say, it's more.
Yeah, it looks more authentic to
Definitely.
like what actual like Native Americans wore. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for this because I am a little closer to Florida, and you know what me, I love my girl Tiana,
And there's.
and I think we're both excited
Oh
about
yeah,
this.
even more news coming out of Florida. Epic Universe is aiming for a Memorial Day weekend opening in 2025.
Wow, so that's actually really close.
So, for those of you who haven't been keeping abreast, as the Epic Universe is a third park opening up at Universal Orlando. Oh, and from the looks of it, it's going to be massive. With
Oh yeah,
not only are there 5 new lands, but also an on-site hotel, so you can literally walk into the park.
yep. They have a section based on Super Nintendo World.
Which first opened in Japan, and it's going to be opening with a new Donkey Kong expansion.
Yeah, and then we also have the Isle of Berk, which is How to Train Your Dragon from DreamWorks. We have the Dark Universe, which is all the like Universal monsters, Universal like studio monsters. And then we have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And then, as Jed mentioned, there is a on-site hotel called Helios.
And the hub world is Celestial Park, which is themed after it's like a garden themed after astronomy. And the
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
yeah, and so yeah, I'm really excited about this, and it could be serious competition for Disney.
Oh yeah, because see, the thing is in recent years, while Disney still does a really good job of making money from their parks, they have been having they've been in with competition, I think, with Universal for a while. But like, I think ever since they had gotten the rights to the Harry Potter franchise, I feel like Disney has been trying to sort of one up them. And they kind of did for a while with like the Marvel stuff and Star Wars, but it really does seem like Disney's gonna be, they're gonna probably be like trying to figure out how to get a leg up on Universal
Definitely.
soon.
Ace. And let's see what else. What's next? Oh, you got this one. I know you're more excited about this than I am.
So, I'm like an 80s kid at heart. I really love a lot of the old stuff from the 80s. And recently, they've been releasing a lot of Rainbow Bright merchandise. And for those of you who don't know, Rainbow Bright was sort of similar to the Care Bear. She started out as I think she started out as like a card greeting thing. Yeah. Hang on, let me check. Yeah, she was a media franchise from Hallmark Cards, and then due to her popularity, they gave her a television show, and there was a bunch of merchandise, mainly dolls. There was even a movie. She was like very popular, and they've been attempting to like reboot the franchise for a while. There was like a second generation, and then there was like a third generation, and now we're like at the fifth generation, and they've been they've been trying to bring her back because like the first few reboots didn't work, but it seems like they might possibly be able to successfully reboot her because they got the producer of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie to work on it, and the Fast and Furious franchise. Okay. I'm not like the biggest fan of the the CGI art doesn't look too bad. This is just a this is before we see like what the show looks like, but she looks the same. Her eyes just look a little different. Her horse looks a little smaller, but other than that, I actually am excited about this just because for some reason they've had a really hard time rebooting Rainbow Bright, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's because the show didn't last too long or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, who knows?
So anyway, last bit of news. I'm excited about this one. Don't Walk Home Alone has been adapted into a series. So what is Don't Walk Home Alone After Dark? It's an independent animated YouTube channel that does a bunch of horror themed shorts. It's like Like the first one I saw from them was a worm, which was very eerie and terrifying. And they also been doing some few second long shots that are creepy and foreboding. And it's being picked up by out of a Canadian-based animation studio, Mercury Filmworks. They're best known for the Netflix series Hilda and the Paul Rudd's era of Mickey Mouse shorts as well. So, as well as and the Ghost and Molly McGee. Hey, that's another one they did.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they shown how just because you use flat like Adobe puppets and training shows that you don't have to sacrifice quality. Hey. Oh yeah, and they also did the Tangled animated series as well. So
yes, so a lot of people are like excited about this, but also because there's not a lot of like animation horror for like adults.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Like
and there should be,
especially with how limitless the potential is for the animation medium for horror.
Oh yeah, because like I think we've also talked about how some stuff they try to make for children ends up being way too dark. It's like and like terrifying and creepy. So it's like, well, yeah, so just make more like animated horror stuff. So hopefully this will be maybe like a breakthrough series or something where it like sort of gets people and like, hey guys, we can like make a lot of horror films, but we can make them animated, you know? So fingers crossed.
Okay, and so now recommendations.
Yeah, so I would like to go first. Because, see, like, after watching Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, I was genuinely pissed off. It's like, I need to watch something good, like, right now. And so I had been wanting to watch this for a while. I really hope I'm saying this right. It's Saprisia. Again, hoping I'm saying this right. And this is the original version from 1977. It is an Italian supernatural horror film by Dario Argento. This is considered to be like one of the most important, influential films of the horror genre. It is about a young ballerina from America who arrives in Germany, and she's wanting to attend this place called the Tanz Academy. As she's like approaching, she sees another student who like flees the school. She's like terrified of something. And on that night, the student ends up dying.
Oh, no.
And all this, like, really weird stuff starts happening. They, like, at night, the students look up and there's a bunch of maggots in the ceiling. One of the blind piano player gets attacked by his dog. Like, all this weird stuff starts happening. And it was really good. And it was so 70s. I loved the music of it. It was by, I think, was it a prog rock band who did the music again? Let me check. But I really just love the music. There was something, the progressive rock band Goblin. I freaking loved the music in this. It was so jarring, but it made sense. I also really like Jessica Harper, who plays Susie. She's a really talented actress, and she seems to sort of have like a knack for starring in like cult classic films. It's like, hey, we need someone for a cult classics film, to get her. She's really good in this. And she also later starred in the Saprisia remake, where I think she later plays, the headmistress, I think. So yeah, I really loved this. I'm really excited to watch the other adaptation of this. I highly recommend it. However, I'm going to say, if you are going to watch it, it does get really bloody.
No.
And like at the beginning when like the first girl dies, oh god, it is very
brutal.
Very brutal.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So not for the squeamish.
Like so not for the squeamish, and also like I mentioned the maggots. If you don't like creepy crawly things, stay away. Thankfully, they don't focus on the maggots too long. But like again, I can't recommend it if you are squeamish. And so I had mentioned this book before, Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. That's right. You heard me correct. This is a book by Chuck Tingle that is not a bizarre romantic erotic story. So for those of you who like don't know, and you're not perpetually on the internet like I am, Chuck Tingle is infamous because he makes a lot of really bizarre erotic stories, but he like plays into that. Like trans wizard Harriet Porber and the bad boy Paraphosophagus, pounded in the butt by my own butt, space raptor butt invasion, etc., etc. And yes, these are real titles, but I guess something happened because Chuck Tingle's like, you know what? I think I'm going to try to write actual books, because he wrote Cap Damascus in 2023, and then he published another book this year called Bury Your Gaze. I haven't read Bury Your Gaze, but I really like Camp Damascus. It is about a girl named Rose Darling, and she lives in this really conservative, like religious community called Neverton in Montana. Everything is like fine until all of a sudden she starts throwing up this nasty, disgusting, like black bile. Ugh. And there's like flies in it. Ugh. And then, yeah, and at the same time, there's this place called Camp Damascus, which is apparently the #1 most effective gay conversion camp in the country. Well, Rose like starts to see the, cracks in the plaster. And what happens is one of her friends ends up getting killed. And the thing is, she knows who did it. It was a demon. She has been seeing a demon with a name tag that's been following her around. Everyone else is like, oh, no, it's not real. But, like, the more she sees the demon, she starts to realize there's something going on. People are not telling me things. And she starts to unravel the mystery. Oh, God, this book was really good. Like, I could not put it down. I finished it, I think, about in 2 days. I highly recommend it. And also, if you're autistic and you want to read a book with a character who is autistic, Camp Damascus. Like, I started reading this, and I'm like, I think Rose is autistic. And I was right. It's like one of the... And this is just such a good written autistic character. And I was like, oh, thank God. He did such a good job. So I highly recommend this. However, I am once again going to give a little, like, a side note. Like I said, there is a scene in which she throws up, and it's like black and nasty and filled with flies. If you do not like flies, they talk about it a lot. Flies are like a recurring theme in the book. I would recommend you stay away from it if you can't stand that kind of stuff.
Okay, and now it's time for my recommendations. So yeah, after Blood and Honey, I wanted to watch a good monster flick, and what better a good alternative than the classics? So my first recommendation is Universal's Frankenstein, the original from 1931.
It's alive! It's alive!
Oh yeah, like that classic film. Like there was one line that was really amazing, and when I read it, like when Victor von Frankenstein first creates his monster, and his colleagues like, Victor, in God's name, what have you done? And he said, now I know what it's like to be God. Like, yeah. Also, this was written before the Hayes office took effect, so they were able to make it morbid, and before a bunch of Christians got uppity and asked them to cut out stuff and re-errands. But yeah, it's from 1931, so don't expect to see anything too horrific or gory, but it still has amazing...
Oh, no boobs?
No boobs! And...
Damn.
What do you think this is? Blood and Honey? But it has amazing atmosphere, set design, cinematography, and of course, the actor, like Boris Karloff as the monster.
Yeah.
Like, this is the film that made him famous.
Yeah. Like, that's, I think, why he sort of became the go-to, like, horror guy for a while.
Even some scenes where you actually feel bad for the monster, and I feel like some horror fans, they need to respect the classics and go back. It's not gonna make you lose any sleep, but it is amazingly written and beautifully shot, and I definitely recommend it.
But you also kind of understand, like, when you see the film, you understand why Frankenstein as a character and a concept and the movie has continued to be such a staple of the horror genre and the sci-fi genre as well.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely looking for to Guillermo del Toro's adaptation when it comes out.
Oh God, me too. I cannot wait.
This was a film he wanted to do for years.
Oh yeah, let him cook.
And my second recommendation is something more on the campy but gory side: The Evil Dead. And a film that film that launched a cult classic horror franchise. It's the original by Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, and it is the first film is quite different. If for those of you who are familiar with the later adaptations, especially with how it portrays Ass Williams.
It takes it takes a completely different turn in the second movie. Which, is kind of shocking, but it ended up working. This was also his second film, but I think this was like his first, what's the word?
Breakout film.
Breakout film.
It focuses, it plays into a lot of tropes, you got 5 teenage friends and it's going to a cabin in the woods where something evil lurks. And there are some great special practical effects, and it's very campy. Despite all the blood and rotten flesh and dismemberment, it is quite campy.
But in a good way.
In a fun way, to the point where it's still creepy and gross and terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Sam Raimi knows what he's doing.
Oh, definitely. And I gotta get around to watching the other films. I only watched the first 2 films, but I heard the new one, Rise, is really good.
Yeah, surprisingly, somehow, Sam Raimi, despite being around for a very long time, he still knows how to do horror. I feel maybe some people, when Multiverse of Madness came in, it's I think a lot of people didn't realize he started out with a horror film, and he sort of showed people that he can still do it. He's still really, really good at it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he's also planning on producing more films in the horror genre. I think he's directing one for 20th Century. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, and that's it for this episode. So what are we reviewing next week, Rooty?
So we are still continuing with our tradition of, for the rest of October, we're going to review horror and Halloween related stuff. So next week we're going to be reviewing a film that's been on Amazon Prime for a while, and I've been wanting to watch it, called Benny Loves You. And all I got to say, it's got to be better than what we watched today. All right. I will see you guys next time. Have a spooky Halloween.
Silver Samrock.